Well, we get 3 new episodes here of The Conners to end out the season. I love it. Let's talk about the best laid plans, a contrabassoon, and a sinking feeling. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It, and welcome to my Connors review for episode number 18 of season 4. The best laid plans, a contrabassoon, and a sinking feeling. This is now the first of 3 all new episodes in a row. I don't know if we've had 3 new episodes since the beginning of the season. They keep throwing repeats at us and, different specials that ABC has going on Wednesdays. But no, we get 1, 2, 3 here for the final. So I'll be seeing a lot of you here these next few weeks. But let's talk about this particular episode. Before we get started, I do want to remind you to please subscribe to the channel. If you're not one of my regular subscribers, I would love to have you aboard. We're gearing towards 1,000 subscribers. We're just about at that 950 hump. So once we get over there, it's on the quest to 1,000. And I do the Connors reviews every single week that there is a new episode. I've got all of them up. The Roseanne Season 10 revival. I've got Roseanne season reviews. So if you are a fan of the show, this is the place to be for sure. So we had a very, very special guest star tonight. So I guess let's talk first about that. That has to do with the Contrabassoon plot line. And that is our good friend, Christopher Lloyd. Back to the Future is one of my favorite movies of all time. Obviously he goes back to the TV days from the late 70s with Taxi. So this guy's still very, very active. I saw him in 2 movies in 2021. One of them he was playing sort of a retiree in a retirement community, but the other one he was kicking ass and taking names in the Bob Odenkirk thriller action movie Nobody. So look, it's always good to see him, and here he plays this old flame of Grandma Bev's. I think his name was Lou, and Mark is learning to play the contrabassoon as an entrance into hopefully some sort of college scholarship, and that seems to be the way in. We learned this many episodes ago, and then they sort of didn't do anything with it. But as always with the Connors, most things sort of come back around and we learn. And we actually haven't even seen Mark for a few weeks. I think maybe he was in one scene like 3 episodes ago, but he hasn't been here in a while. So it was nice to get a sort of B plot around him, and he is learning this instrument, and Jackie remembers, I think my mother used to date a guy that played the contrabassoon and taught and stuff, so maybe he's still around, and maybe Bev has his number. So there was a funny exchange there. I wish they had done a FaceTime with Estelle Parsons. I don't know what her health is these days. She's in her early 90s, and we haven't seen her on this show, I think, for 2 seasons. I'm not sure. I think maybe season 2 was the last time we saw her. So, look, her health may not be great, but I would have loved to have gotten, just a sort of FaceTime joke there with her. But in any event, she was theoretically on the other line. So, unfortunately, we didn't get a guest role from her. But she said, oh, yes, here's this guy's number. And it turns out, it's Christopher Lloyd playing him, so we love that. But he's a hard ass. He is really a taskmaster, and Dan does not care for it. He says, look, Mark is a lot more sensitive than I was in high school playing football and stuff. With my coach would yell at us. I got to put a stop to this. So he basically talks Lou into leaving. And, they have a little bit of a tiff. And then Mark says, dude, what are you doing? I need this to get into college. I'm ready. I will do what it takes. I'm not soft, whatever. So Dan goes to this Lou's house or apartment and talks to him. And, a great scene between, 2 acting legends here. Christopher Lloyd and John Goodman. Come on. We didn't expect that this season. So, it wasn't quite as funny as the episode we got earlier in the season with Aldo's father, who was played by, was it Joe Walsh from the Eagles. Look, Joe Walsh is a great musician, but certainly not an accomplished actor. So seeing John Goodman and Christopher Lloyd sort of go back and forth, loved that. and that was sort of the B plot. And then I would say the A plot is sort of both of the other things in the title, the best laid plans and a sinking feeling. Because best laid plans, well, Darlene is working on this house. They're taking an old crematorium and basically leveling it and making it something new. So she got blueprints and plans and stuff for that, and did not like the way that Ben was sort of coming on a little strong with his viewpoints with it, his opinions. Well, you're never going to live here, so shut the hell up, dude. Was kind of her thing. Leading to a very funny scene, the funniest one in the episode, I think, between Ben and Becky at the lunchbox. I loved that scene between the two of them, where he really doesn't reveal his feelings for Darlene, still being there, but it's basically clear from their exchange. And he calls Becky sort of a gossip, and they have a really great exchange. For my money, those are the two best scenes in the whole episode: Christopher Lloyd and John Goodman, and then Lisa Goranson and J.R. Ferguson, both for the funny part with them, and then with John Goodman and Christopher Lloyd, sort of just the bowing to the masters of acting here. But that leads him and Darlene to have a disagreement on the roof of the place, sort of fighting about, you want this other sink, and this isn't going to be your house, and what are you talking about, and this, that, and the other thing. And it ends up with Darlene falling through the roof, so that's going to be the sinking feeling. She plummets right down to the next level. So at that point, we realize, obviously she's not dead. We know that. But, Ben, the character, doesn't know. So he runs down to her aid, and, she tosses out a funny line, and he gives her a kiss. And she's like, what was that for? Because I thought you were dead. I thought we lost you, And she was like, well, that was not a thank God you're alive kiss. That was something else. So we find out, oh my gosh, are they going to get back together? And look, this is what it's been building to all season, right? We knew there was a reason by the end of last year that J.R. Ferguson did not leave the opening credits for the title. We knew he is still a series regular because he's in way more episodes than a lot of other people I could mention. And so, okay. So she's laid up in the hospital bed, and he proposes. All he has is the little ring from this teddy bear he bought, this little, plastic ring or whatever. So he puts it on her finger and proposes, and looks like we're going to have another Connor wedding next year. Well, although I don't know, because the last episode of the season is called A Judge and a Priest Walk into a Living Room. So we could actually get, as the season finale, we could get the wedding if they ramp it up that quickly. We don't know. Certainly Darlene's been married before, so, maybe we don't need to take too much time with this wedding. They're both in their 40s. So, yeah, I think we could maybe be seeing a wedding at the end of the season. We don't know. But in any event, it is going to be happening. They are back together finally. My guess was that it was going to be before the end of the season they got back together. We do this whole season-long arc. She dates these other guys, most of whom, by the way, I liked. And I think that was sort of the point. I think it would have been too easy if she was dating all these jerks. No, she was dating guys that maybe weren't right for her in one way or another, and we found that out as we went. But pretty nice guys, when it comes down to it. So, but that last guy from the bookstore, especially, Ben was sort of butting heads with him and making him uncomfortable, obviously, as a deterrent. So, Darlene kind of blamed him for the demise of the relationship. But look, if Darlene really wanted Ben out of her life, she would have done so. But I think it was important to her that he has a good connection with Mark, her son. I think that is very important to her, and that's why she was letting him sort of stay around. And, Dan works at the hardware store that Ben owns, so it's like he's still gonna be part of this lady's life. So I think we all knew this is where it was heading, but I'm very happy. It made me smile. Certainly some laughs throughout with this episode. So yeah, I mean, not much more else to say, really. I liked a lot about this episode. It was funny. It was heartfelt. It is moving the story in the exact direction that we knew it was going to eventually, with Ben and Darlene getting back together. Didn't know it would be a marriage proposal so quickly, and that sort of is how they got back together. But I liked it. I thought narratively all of it worked. And of course, seeing Christopher Lloyd. Never a bad thing. So, look, I know this is going to be a shorter one than most of my reviews, but there isn't much more else to say, really. This was a very, very solid episode, a good entry. I've been doing sort of MVP of the episode the last few weeks, so I guess let's continue with that. I would say MVP of the episode because he was involved in one of the two best scenes of the episode, but also because plot-wise, I think he was so very necessary for this one. I think I got to go with J.R. Ferguson as Ben for the MVP of this episode. And look, I do try to think a little bit outside the box. I think it would be too easy to say, oh, the MVP is Darlene or something, Sarah Gilbert. But look, Ben was part of the funniest scene in the episode at the lunchbox. And Lisa Goranson, great performance from her comedically as well this episode. But obviously, the stuff with Darlene, very important, and there were some funny exchanges there as well. And look, I'm just happy to see them back together. So we got to give it to J.R. Ferguson for the MVP of the episode. Grade-wise, I'm going to leave The Best Laid Plans, a Contrabassoon, and a Sinking Feeling with an A-. I think it was both funny and is driving the storyline to where it needs to be. Next week's episode is simply called Three Ring Circus, so that could be interesting. But yeah, the final is called A Judge and a Priest Walk into a Living Room, so I think that could be the wedding episode. I guess we will find out as we move on. But people absent from this episode: Katie Segal is Louise, not here. Michael Fishman obviously is DJ. It's more remarkable when he is there. And then everybody else was in it. Even Mary was in the tag scene there as Mark played the contrabassoon. I thought it was okay, but it doesn't have a great tone, that instrument, unless it's with the full orchestra. So there were sort of some jokes at that expense. But yeah, a really, really good episode. A welcome return after 2 weeks off. So there you go. Thank you for watching. We'll see everybody next time. Bye.